Alrighty, welcome to episode 2 of Friends of Five. We have a special guest with us. We also have Simba of Sports, Matthew. In this case, we're going to be covering some Alabama sports. Tua, of course, Kyle Henderson. He has been covering Alabama sports for about, 16 years or so?
No, so I've been covering Alabama now for just about 4 years, but I've been in this industry for about 15, 16 years. So really happy to be on. And of course, batting in the 2-hole in your podcast. I mean, hey, I'm thrilled to be here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you.
Thanks, man. All right, so we'll just get started. We're most intrigued, of course. We're Miami fans. We're Miami biased. We want to learn about Tua. Matthew had a few questions. He's going to set you up and, let us know how we could best be versed with him going forward.
Yeah.
So I guess my first question is, how good is Tua? Like, can you put it into because, everybody thinks he's either super amazing or he's going to only a good for, college, just like some of these other, prospects. How good is Tua really?
I mean, the thing about Tua Tagovailoa is the fact that, number one, his name is very fun to pronounce. I mean, you get to say it over and over, right? You're like, Tua Tagovailoa, it just rolls off the tongue. Tua, number one, the first thing you have to know about Tua is character. He doesn't just portray this, person that he is. I mean, he's the real deal. He's a great person. So him coming to South Florida, you're getting a fantastic person to that area, for a mentor for the youth, someone who's, very big into his faith, really quality family. When you talk about football, I mean, the guy can spin it like you cannot. I mean, like you've never seen before. I mean, he's a left-handed quarterback. The ball just whizzes off his arm. I mean, he's a tremendous talent. And I know the end of his career at Alabama was a little bit bumpy, and it obviously ended with an injury. But I think ceiling-wise, I mean, who knows? I mean, this guy is so technically gifted, and he was already throwing to NFL-esque wide receivers at the college level, right? I mean, Henry Ruggs, Jeudy, both those guys went in the first round as well. And something that really stands out to me, and I think a lot of your fans could really, gain insight from this, is the fact that his touch, especially in balls thrown over 25 yards, whether it's to the left, to the right, down the hashes, is pinpoint accuracy. You'll never see anything like it. I mean, it's just right on the money. His ability to read coverages, I mean, he can move around. I mean, as you saw, coming off that hip injury, he looks fantastic. And I think that, his level, I mean, who knows? I just think that Tua Tagovailoa is such a special talent. And not only at the college level, I think he's going to be fine on Sundays.
Okay, cool.
That's all very exciting. And
yeah.
I feel like we kind of heard that a little bit. Like, we know the hype is there. He's perfect. We're trying to actually, at this point, try to find something imperfect about him. Obviously, he can be considered injury prone. But besides the fact, I mean, it's a tough sport as it is. So you're going to get injured a few times in your career. Is there any other takeaways from him? I mean, something, not dirt, but is there anything that we should find out, something that we will find out about him that might catch us off guard?
I mean, I think, let's just talk about it. I mean, the injury. I mean, everybody's talking about, is this guy injury prone or not? I mean, you look at all the injuries that he had throughout the course of his career. I mean, a lot of people are asking, it's like, this guy can spin the football so well, but at the same point, he's breaking bones, left and right. And that's something that we saw during his career. I don't think it's going to be anything to hamper. However, I do think if he gets hurt one time, then people are really going to be like, this dude is brittle. Like, right. What is going on? What is the problem?
Yeah.
In terms of his overall ability to read coverages and distribute the football, there's zero problem. I think anything about Tua is just the simple fact that, is this guy going to get hurt? I mean, it got to the point covering Alabama football to where every single time he either got out of the pocket or went down, you're holding your breath. I was there at Mississippi State when he went down with his dislocated hip. It was horrific. It was one of the worst things we've ever seen. Really just terrible, moment in college football. He also broke his nose. They had to reset his hip.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. Yeah. So
it was scary.
Yeah. But in terms of anything like a downside to him, I mean, I just think that's it. I mean, you have this guy who obviously has a very high ceiling in terms of his overall talent, the way he distributes the football. But on the flip side, you're wondering, is this guy, completely brittle? Is another injury just waiting to occur? And then that's something that we're just going to all have to find out.
True. Okay. Fair enough.
I had a question. Was Tua always amazing? Has he always been this good, or was it after he replaced Jalen? Like what was going on? Because I know like we're not as involved. But for example, here in Miami, we had a QB situation going on where everybody knew there was another guy who might have been better. So was Tua always good, or was it that one game, boom, he blew up from there and he just got better from there?
No, I mean, Tua's always had a special gift for distributing the football, and that comes to his days of playing, football in Hawaii. And, you guys, as you guys continue, you guys will gain a huge Polynesian following just because, they love Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah,
and
I think we already started.
You'll have, I had to actually like schedule shows later in the evening. So all my Hawaiian followers could catch a show because I was doing it too early in the morning. They would send me nice gifts. I mean, just such a great culture to be embraced with. But yeah, Tua has always been able to spin the football. I mean, there was one particular game at the high school level, I think, where he threw 8 touchdowns or accounted for 8 touchdowns. So This guy's always been the real deal. And then when he got to Alabama, came in with a very talented class, came in with Najee Harris, came in with Jerry Jeudy, came in with Henry Ruggs. I mean, so much talent in that class. And he was, yes, sitting on the bench just because you had Jalen Hurts who returned. And it was such an interesting dynamic to be a part of, considering the fact that, Jalen is here leading the team, winning games, but you have this talent on the bench who could distribute the football better. At least that's what we were all trying to figure out at the time. Yeah. And I think what happened during 2017, Alabama lost to Auburn. Right. And then I think during that week, it kind of came out that Tua was really lighting people up at practice. And then it wasn't until the national championship game to where Nick Saban said, hey, look, we're going to have to go another direction, try to figure out something to win this national title game. And it was Tua that came in with that spark. And ever since that, he's been put into that position of being the quarterback, he's just flourished and excelled besides the injuries. I mean, this guy is someone uniquely talented. And I think Miami has someone truly, truly special. I mean, you guys cannot be more excited about a player like Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah. Can I jump in real quick? All right. So do you think he's better than Joe Burrow?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say yes. I think Joe Burrow, the transformation Joe Burrow made from year over year was fantastic. And what he did, even in Tuscaloosa, defeating the Crimson Tide, was incredible. I mean, this guy, and you saw it during the national title game. This isn't fancy. I'm speaking the truth. I mean, what Joe Burrow did year over year, and especially towards the end of the year, was fantastic. And he had those wide receivers similar to Tua Tagovailoa in Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. He just had him on the other side for LSU. I think what separates the two is arm velocity. I think Tua Tagovailoa, as you'll find, and you guys sent me kind of in the outline kind of things that, people might not know. Well, I'll tell you a story. So I'm at practice, right? We get to go to practice and we get to watch the Alabama, practice for a certain amount of time each day. Mm-hmm. And Tua's out there and he's taking reps with Steve Sarkisian, and there's other quarterbacks behind him. It was Mac Jones, Talia Tagovailoa, Paul Tyson. And they're throwing probably like 20 yards downfield to an assistant coach. And it's kind of towards us. I have a camera and I'm watching Tua Tagovailoa. He's kind of like, 20 yards, 25 yards from me because I'm off the field a little bit. Tua's throwing the football and you just hear that whip. It's like every single time he distributes the football, the other quarterbacks come up, zero whip. Wow. I mean, so the point is the velocity is, I think, something that separates the two. I think obviously Joe Burrow was the hotter name, just considering he stayed healthy. LSU was balling out of control. That team was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, but I think like straight up, if Tua's healthy, Tua beats, Tua beats LSU and Alabama, and Tua leads Alabama past Auburn in the end. So he's fantastic.
Nice.
Cool. That's great. So would you play Tua this season if you were in the Miami Dolphins office? Like, what are you waiting for from Tua? Are you waiting for us to get better pieces, or are you waiting for him to heal more? Like, or you want him just to beat out Ryan Fitzpatrick when you say, okay, fine, you're ready, go out there? Like, what is it you think?
I mean, this year has just been straight trash, right? I mean, ever since Kobe Bryant passed away, this year has been complete trash. I mean, everything bad that could have happened in 2020 has gone bad. So why risk it? Let this kid get healthy. You already have a seasoned quarterback on. What's the rush, right? I mean, let this kid develop, find some sort of continuity on the team. Let him find some rhythm working out, with the rest of the Dolphins, and then you can figure out his path from there. Hey, if he's ready and, there's a chance that, they really need him to get in at some point, then sub him in, obviously, and let's see what he can do. But I don't think there's any need to rush Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, you already have a veteran quarterback. I mean, obviously, if it gets to dire straits, then do what you got to do. But I think you just have to let Tua Tagovailoa, especially this year, considering what could happen, right? I mean, all these different variables going on in 2020. I think you just stay patient. You have your quarterback, kind of let him find the process and figure out his role, and then eventually he's your guy.
Okay, that's well versed. Do you think? All right, kind of going back, is he a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence, in your opinion?
I don't know, probably not. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, the dude is a freak, right? I mean, 6'7", what is he, like 240 pounds? I mean, he's got a laser of an arm. He can run. That run that he had in the national title game, there was a couple of runs that he had. I mean, the guy's amazing, right? Yeah. He's got the long hair. He's got the look. He's got, the knowledge, the IQ. He plays at Clemson. Last year, during the beginning of the season, Trevor Lawrence really struggled. He didn't get off to that hot start, but this year he's the guy. He's the guy that everybody wants to see, and I think he's even in a similar situation of like a Nick Bosa, to where he didn't even really have to play this coming season. Yeah. He's still the first quarterback off the board. So, Trevor Lawrence, I think, is, I talk about Tua being a uniquely talented quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, even more so, just considering his size and overall ability.
So let's say for some, like Tua doesn't play this year and Miami somehow gets the first overall pick. So, I mean, what would you do as GM of the Dolphins?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. That's something that I don't have an answer for. I guess you take Trevor Lawrence and trade him, I mean, and see what you can do. But I mean, I guess you take Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. That's a tough. I didn't even think about that.
Then you got to play Tua. You got to play him, because if you got to win a few games, you would think. But like you mentioned, the risk right now with the COVID, you don't want anything to happen to him. Keep him bubble wrapped. Let him keep selling jerseys, and everything will work out in itself.
Yeah.
What do you got, Matthew?
So I wanted to shift a little bit onto some of the other players that were drafted in this draft from Alabama.
Yeah.
Out of the players, I think that's 9 players that were drafted. Which other player do you think is going to have the biggest impact in the NFL?
I mean, great question. I think when you look at the 2 wide receivers, I mean, I'm curious to see what Henry Ruggs does with the Raiders. Okay. This guy is the fastest player in the entire was he the fastest player in all of college football? I think he was a 4.2 legit 40 times. So the Raiders, obviously obsessed with speed, went for him. The thing about Henry Ruggs, he's out of Montgomery, Alabama. So he's a in-state hero. 42-inch vertical as well, and he had a broad jump, I think, of 11 feet. So when you're looking at all those variables, this guy is a complete freak. Like, you guys are probably too young, but like, when you think about guys like dunking the basketball, you look back at like Sean Kemp, or guys who could just really, throw down the basketball. Freak. Like Henry Ruggs, like check out Henry Ruggs, his mixtape basketball wise, it's crazy. So the guy, windmills, 360s, all that. And I think, fitting into the Raiders system, I'm curious to see what he could do. He's playing in, what'll be Las Vegas, a lot of excitement. Don't sleep on Jerry Jeudy. He's the most polished wide receiver. And the thing that separates those two is Jerry Jeudy is a pure wide receiver, in the sense that he doesn't have a 42-inch vertical, but he's still like a 4.4 guy. Best routes, hardest worker, always in the sand. He's from obviously South Florida. So much talent coming out of that area when you talk about receivers. Jerry Jeudy, humble guy. And I think he's someone who could really, do a great job in the NFL. I mean, there's so many guys from Alabama, because the thing is, Nick Saban, this is like a farm league for the NFL. Right? Yeah, I know LSU had more draftees this year than Alabama, but that's not every year. I mean, Alabama, there's already talk. There's going to be 7 or 8 guys in next year's draft. And that's like the first round or something. So no, it's crazy the talent that gets out of here. But I think Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy will be set up for success in the NFL.
And what about Raekwon Davis, the other Alabama pick from the Miami Dolphins? What are we going to see from somebody like him?
I don't know. I mean, that's one guy who we waited forever to see some sort of big time production out of Raekwon Davis. I figured that he would have had a tremendous career at Alabama, I wouldn't call it tremendous. Maybe the best is yet to come from Raekwon Davis, and maybe he'll find his way in the NFL. You're talking about a guy who's 6'7", 315 pounds, completely chiseled, jacked, a bunch of athleticism, but I mean, rarely got to the quarterback. Yeah, he made some plays. I'm sure Nick Saban would say that he's happy with Davis on the defensive side of the ball, but I really expected more. I thought he could have got a ton more money in the NFL. I think this guy could have been a first-round draft pick. But I don't know. I guess maybe the best is yet to come from Raekwon Davis, because we certainly didn't see his best, in my opinion, while he was at Alabama.
Okay, I mean, that's a little scary, but
hey, it's the truth.
The
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely the truth. You got another question?
Right? Yeah, I was gonna say, so Jalen Hurts, he was the starting quarterback for Alabama, and then of course he was removed in the national championship game. Do you see? All right, so Jalen Hurts, he got drafted later on. He goes probably as a backup. But was there like a different? I mean, obviously you got the left-handed thrower, so he's different. Mm-hmm. He's got better whip, like you said with Tua. But is Jalen Hurts close as regarding talent, or were they just leaps and bounds? And just so happens Jalen Hurts was more ready at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, completely different quarterbacks, obviously. Jalen is a dual threat quarterback, doesn't have the arm strength that Tua has. But the thing about Jalen is he's a winner. You put that guy in any situation, any team, he's going to win games. You saw that when he went to Oklahoma from Alabama. You're talking about a guy his wisdom is like a 75-year-old man. I mean, the guy is so smart. He's so stoic. He's got ice in his veins, and nobody could have handled that situation of him losing his spot in the national title game with more dignity than Jalen Hurts. He didn't complain. He went and celebrated with his teammates after they won the national championship, and then going into the 2018 season when he ended up losing his job to Tua, he handled it like a man. And, he didn't complain. He just worked harder. Guys always in the weight room. What is he going to do in the NFL? I have no idea. But I know that he's going to be an impact role in a positive way for Philadelphia's locker room. I think this is a guy that if he gets the right shot, because so many people have told him that he's not a quarterback, that he can't do it at the next level, that he might just do it. And you tell someone they're not good, that fires them. And Jalen Hurts has that fire. Don't sleep on him. I mean, he's going to Philadelphia with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to take every single opportunity to do a great job. Jalen Hurts, a wonderful, wonderful person.
Yeah, and he's going to a team, Philadelphia, who has a head coach who's one of the most creative offensive coordinators. So if somebody's going to get production out of a quick QB, Jalen Hurts, it's going to be Philly. Alabama's losing players, like you said, 10 players at least, like about 10 players every year, right? Like, how are they not getting worse? Like, at what point do you say, like, there's going to be a drop-off in talent from Alabama? Not in talent, but even, like, these kids aren't that developed yet. Like, so is it this year? Because that's what I'm hearing. This year might be, like, the struggle for Alabama.
I mean, wrong. It's not going to be the season for Alabama. I mean, they're going to drub whoever they play in week one or whenever week one is by 21 to 28 points, whether that's USC, whether that's TCU, whether that's whoever. It doesn't matter. I mean, the amount of talent that Alabama has coming back on really the offensive side of the ball is frightening. I don't know if you've heard of a player by the name of Jalen Waddle, probably going to be the most dangerous player in all of college football. If you haven't seen him, look him up. People talk about Rondale Moore from Purdue. This guy is much better than Rondale Moore. You talk about Devontae Smith. He's returning at receiver. You're talking about Najee Harris at running back returning. So much talent returns on the offensive side of the ball. Why isn't Alabama getting worse? Well, it's because recruiting, and it's because of Nick Saban. I mean, Nick Saban's the GOAT at sending guys from Alabama to the NFL. I believe he has 38 first-round draft picks since he's been the head coach. I think at Alabama and LSU, 33 sent in the first round from Alabama. Guys continue to fly off the board from Alabama because of the way that he works with his players. He treats it like an organization. It's a top flight flagship university. Think about this. ESPN, do they have series with Dabo Sweeney or Ed Orgeron or Ryan Day? No, they don't. They only have shows with Nick Saban. Why? Because Nick Saban number one, knows what he's talking about. Number two, he wins championships. Number three, he sends guys to the NFL, and his IQ is through the roof. So the simple answer is Nick Saban. And until Nick Saban leaves Tuscaloosa, Alabama is going to be one of the top 4 teams in college football always, this year especially, considering the fact that they didn't make the playoffs this past season. So Nick Saban's here. You have a lot of continuity with the offensive and defensive assistant coaches returning. This place is a factory, and it's not going to change until Nick Saban leaves.
So let me ask one more question before Ryan goes. 2 parts. What seed do you see Alabama ending in next year? And the over-under for Alabama is 10.5 wins. What are you going for?
Yeah.
What do you think? If you had to put money, which one would you advise?
Yeah, I'm taking. Over. That's easy.
Okay.
And seed for the playoffs. Who really cares? They're going to be either 1 through 4, and they're going to make the championship game. That's the type of confidence that people have in Tuscaloosa. I'm not a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm not from Tuscaloosa, so before anyone out there makes me feel like I'm a fansy type person, I'm from New Mexico. I have no attachment to Alabama. I didn't go to the university here. I report on the team, what I see, the good and the bad. What I continue to see out of the University of Alabama's football program is that they're the premier program in college football. Them not making the playoffs last year, that was this whole town freaked out. This whole town revolves around the football program.
Definitely.
The city of Tuscaloosa, it's not even over 100,000 people. The stadium has over 100,000 seats. You get what I'm saying? So this is a brand bigger than most brands. Even you could talk professionally. So
like Packers.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. I didn't even grow up around a big time college atmosphere. We don't have pro sports in New Mexico. So being placed now in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and to see the pageantry that exists from these people and the fan, just excitement isn't something that I've never, ever seen before. So the expectation yearly isn't playoffs. It's not 10.5 wins. It's perfection championship. So every single year.
Okay.
All righty. So, Tua's brother, Lil Tua, he's in the news. He's going to leave. And I guess it has something to do because his family is kind of migrating to South Florida. Do you think he would have made an impact if he was with Alabama? Would he have been a starter at some point? And also, do you have a feeling he's going to land anywhere in particular?
Would he have made an impact to Alabama? No. There's better quarterbacks than him on the roster. So what happens at Alabama is the best have to play, period. Yeah. You have to play the best. And Nick Saban's done a good job of doing that. I think he struggled with the fact that, Jalen Hurts was leading the team and Tua was the better quarterback. That must have been very difficult for him because he's such a loyal type guy. But in the end, when it came crunch time, when he needed to win another championship, he had to go with the best player. And I think he's learned from that. You also have the NCAA transfer portal. So where you don't play these freshmen that are coming in as 5-stars, are going to bounce out right away. You have an incoming 5-star at quarterback by the name of Bryce Young. He's at a Mater Dei in the California area, Los Angeles. Fantastic quarterback coming in. So you have Mac Jones, who returns, did a great job for Alabama, over 1,200 yards last year, stepped up. He's a leader. He's already a graduate coming back, knows the offense inside and out. And then you have Bryce Young, who's a 5-star. And then you have Tua Tagovailoa. So we never got to see spring football to see how much Talia had progressed year over year. But I think talent-wise, I think the writing was on the wall that Bryce Young is the better quarterback and Mac Jones is already going to be the starter. And what we saw at the college level was Tua's dad said that if Tua wasn't going to play anymore, he was going to transfer. So I think that's exactly what happened with Talia. Where is Talia going to go? Everyone's just saying, well, it's going to be South Florida. It's going to be somewhere in Florida. Yes, they are a tight-knit family, but I guess we'll have to see, where exactly Talia does fit in terms of what type of player Talia is. Completely different than his brother. Tua's a big dude. he's 220 pounds. He wears it well. He's got big thighs, big calves. He's just a big dude. Talia, I don't even know if he's 190 pounds. Okay. He's much thinner. He has a good arm and he has a lot more escapability. Right. But in terms of being a top-class quarterback at Alabama or LSU or a big-time program, in my opinion, I just don't think he has it yet.
All right.
That's cool. All righty. So I think let's talk about Miami a little bit. What do you know about Miami?
Well, no, more so do you follow Miami Marlins, Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins? Is you mostly stick to football? What from where you are right now? What are people saying about Miami as a sports city?
I mean, I think when I think about Miami, I went down there a couple years ago to watch Alabama play at Oklahoma, right? So I hadn't visited Miami in quite some time. So went down to Miami. And I was telling Ryan early on the show that I had the best, some of the best food ever. Number one, I mean, the nightlife, the food. Checked out Little Havana. It did the whole experience and just had a great time. In terms of sports city, I think it's a city that wants our sports to be good. Obviously, like every other city, I think Miami is trying to build on top of that. I think everybody would like to see some resurgence of the Dolphins. Clearly. It's a city that I think wants their sports to be, up at the upper echelon. So, with Tua coming to Miami, I think that could potentially be that spark because clearly, this city needs someone to, really revolve around, and Tua could really be that guy. You've already seen him. What does he have? The number one jersey selling already? I mean, people flock to this guy. People are obsessed with Tua, and he could be that spark that the whole city is looking for.
Seems that way. Yeah, like you mentioned, the jersey sales, everybody wants a piece of him. Beyond belief. And with now that Dwayne Wade's gone, the Heat have taken they maintained the number one spot as far as the most popular team.
Mm-hmm.
But football rules as in general, that's America's sport. So a guy like Tua, hopefully, will do that for us. But it seems so far so good. What else you got, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk about Tua for days. I mean, do you have any stories about him? Like anything that you might have heard, like a rumor or something that you're like, man, I want to check this guy out or whatever. Like, was there anything that everybody was talking about? Like, well, I can't believe Tua did this in practice or something like that. And you were just like, no way, I can't believe it. And you got it confirmed.
I mean, I try to think of, a couple items, kind of like the backstory of Tua, and most of it actually revolved around when he was injured, right? So when he got injured against Mississippi State, like the following that Tua had at Alabama was something that we've never seen before. Most popular player ever at the University of Alabama. And that's a lot considering all the players that have rolled through here, right? We just talked about first round picks. No, nobody was more popular than Tua, like nobody. So during his freshman year, like there was something about him that just was like so captivating, not only as a player, but as a person. He's just, he just has like a magical effect almost on people. And so when he got hurt, the stadium was silent, dead. Like people were like crushed, right? When the news came out about the severity of the injury, it was like people were like freaking out. So people were upset. People were like super distraught. It was horrible, right? So throughout the next couple of weeks, the amount of fan mail, like, so when I walk up to Alabama's football facility, you go in through the front door, you walk up this flight of stairs, you talk to the lady at the front, and then I go to like the media facilities where where we put like our computers and whatnot. And there was a UPS guy that was going in with literally crates of get well cards for Tua, literally crates, like boxes and crates, and like never stopped.
Like
people
they were sending it from all over the world, like get better, like people just love this guy. And then so Nick Saban talked about kind of his injury and kind of like his progress. A couple weeks after everything had happened, and he said that he had been FaceTiming with Tua. And one thing I'll never forget, and this is just the type of person that Tua is. Like Tua is about to go into surgery. I don't know, like if you're out there listening, like think about the times you've been about to go into surgery. Are you freaked out? Are you like nervous? Tua is like Mr. Positivity. He's out there with his ukulele and he's jamming. Yeah, and he's just like loving life, And I'm like, man, like if I was about to go to surgery, like for my hip, I would be like a nervous wreck. No, but what I'm getting to is he catches up with Saban, and Saban was like, I called him, like FaceTimed him to make him feel better about himself, be like, hey, like how are things going? And he was like, I ended the call and it was Tua who made me feel better about myself. So I think the point is like the positivity that this guy radiates is something that I've never seen. I mean, it's like we're losing, some of that positivity in the city with him, leaving Tuscaloosa to Miami, because I've never seen anything like it before. Just the injury. And I think a lot of that had to tie back to the fact that he came in as a freshman, won a national title, how he handled himself. How he kept his faith as the number one spot. I mean, it's a really magical story, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds at the next level.
All right. Well, since we have a little bit of time to kill, let's finish off let's talk about you a little bit. Let's talk about Alabama Insider. Tell us about it. What are you working on? What can people expect for all the new people that might be coming to watch? What can people expect? Why should they listen to you? I found you on YouTube. I watched 2 videos and I was like, yo, this guy is awesome. Like I want to keep watching it. The editing is good, like everything is good. So tell me a little bit about Alabama Insider.
Yeah, so first off, the website is Bama Insider. There's tons of you get over here and I'm sure like for you guys like Miami covering, Miami sports is a super crowded market.
Right.
You can't even imagine like all the websites in Tuscaloosa. Like us 3 could start a website now here in Tuscaloosa and be moderately successful. There's just there's so much interest for.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we just be like, okay, yeah, Alabama Insider. I'm sure someone's like out there like starting it now. But like I was saying earlier in the show, I've been doing this for 15 years. And the way I started up, I literally put a sign on my back. And this was like when I was like 22, 23 years old. And it was nmpreps.com. And I started out in New Mexico covering high school sports. Started up my own website out of college, like really wanted to do something that hadn't been done before. New Mexico, like when you think of New Mexico, like I was telling Ryan, people don't even know it's a state, right? So I started covering high school football and started to grow the business and started to kind of hone into my craft. And then it kind of led me to some different opportunities. And I kind of worked my way up. And then an opportunity came up after I, started growing businesses and to run the Alabama site. And I was like, oh my goodness, like moving to Tuscaloosa. I never really like Tuscaloosa. Like, who wants to like move there, live there? And long story short, I've been here now for 4 years. We got a great staff. We cover Alabama football. That's what we do. That's what we do best. So we got the team side, and then you got the recruiting side. So you got Andrew Bone, who covers all of Alabama recruiting. And that's really where you pay where you make your money, right? Because everybody knows about the team, but they want to know who's next to join the team. And just like you were asking earlier, how does this program stay top flight? Well, it's because of the recruiting. So we have Andrew Bone. We talk recruiting. People love it. They love those recruiting nuggets. The other side of it is the team coverage. And obviously, just like you guys, we follow the team from the start of training camp to the end of the bowl season. And we provide daily content, daily videos. We've really done a good job growing some of those channels in a very crowded market with a lot of very good competition. And I think one of the things about this market is the competition is fantastic. You have some other websites who have been here a lot longer than we've been here. You're talking 10, 15, 20 years. So they've already established this giant clientele, right? Mm-hmm. And rightfully so. They've been good at their craft. They're really good. But I think what it's done for us is it's forced us to become better. So I think competition is fantastic. And I think it helps different businesses become better. So, you want to be great. Well, you got to compete with the best. And I think that's something that we're trying to do on our website. And that's something that I try to emulate with our staff. How good do you want to be? Because, the competition, they're not going to stop. Everybody's trying to achieve the one goal to cover their team. In our case, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. And what an opportunity too. I think when I'm here, when I'm walking through the football facilities, I never, ever take it for granted because I know, number one, how hard I've worked to get here. And I know what a privileged opportunity is to be around greatness. I mean, be around Nick Saban, be around future players in the NFL draft. I never take it for granted for one day. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. And I'm still trying to hone in on my craft to become better. I'm trying to become the best person that I can be, whether that's podcast, whether that's video editing, whether that's graphical layout, whatever it is. And I think, we're always striving for greatness, and that's probably the mission statement at Bama Insider.
Nice. Man, Kyle, that's pretty motivating.
Yeah. Now I feel like running now. Like,
No. I'm serious. Like, I think if you're out there and you're trying to like figure out what you can do to be the best, a great book that's really helped me has been The Alchemist. And it's by Paulo Coelho. I'm sure a lot, millions and millions of people read the book.
High school
it always stuck out to me was, if you really, really want something, the world will help you achieve that, right? Like everything will kind of conspire together. And I think I've always kind of followed that. So like now, when I'm in my line of work, it doesn't feel like work. Like I really, really enjoy what I do. And, and I think that helps kind of with the overall, continuity of like all of our working methods to try to continue to provide top-notch coverage on the Crimson Tide.
Nice.
Sounds good. So for everybody out there, make sure you follow BamaInsider. This was Kyle Henderson. He's you're the editor, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you follow BamaInsider. They have all the news. You just heard it. They got people just for recruiting, and they got people just for like what's going on now, right? So make sure you follow BamaInsider.
And we appreciate it. And I wear like a ton of different hats. So I always look back at Kavlon Chason. He's an outside linebacker who got drafted, and he was talking about I forget who he got drafted to. He was from LSU, but during the NFL was like breaking down, and they were talking about him, and they said like one of the things he went into a NFL meeting, and he was like, do you want a guy who speaks one language or a guy who speaks 4 languages? He's like, that's me. I can do all sorts of things, and I think that's important in business. And that's something. So I wear a ton of hats. Like if you want me to do something, I can do it. You want me to lead the show? You want me to turn the lights on? Whatever, I got you. So I love it. And I'm so glad to be able to get on with you guys. And I'm excited about where you guys are going. And I'm so excited. I was number 2 on the show. So, man, in the 2 spot. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have you on again. Next time, you got to wear some Miami Heat stuff or Miami Dolphins gear, Come on with all that stuff.
No, we might be in a stadium, though, next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
Surprised
how you kept those fans so silent, considering it's 100,000 there.
Well, it's COVID-19 right now, so that right now everybody's got to be quiet. They can't know that they're there. Nobody can know that they're there.
Yeah, maybe they all got masks on. I'm not sure.
Can I get one last question in?
Yeah.
All right. So besides Tua, what's a player that you've covered that's also in the pros right now that we may know that you knew that was going to be good, or that you're proud of? I suppose like a Mark Ingram style player or something.
So when I started out everything, I was a college student in I started out in Iowa. I went to Central College, just south of Des Moines. And then from there, I finished up school in Las Cruces, New Mexico at New Mexico State. While I was a student there, I started having an internship with student sports in Los Angeles, California. So while everyone was like partying and having fun in college, I would fly out on the weekends to cover high school, like elite college camps, right? So I would go and check out guys before they were pros, big time talent, guys that were in high school. And that's kind of how I started my own business, NM Preps, which I talked about, a while ago. So I remember there was I was part of the Elite 11 staff, and I would just do whatever they wanted me to, just because I wanted to get my foot in the door. And I remember Andrew Luck, being out of high school and just seeing his IQ and his overall delivery and the type of quarterback that he was in college and then in the NFL. So I can name countless guys that I've covered throughout the years that I knew who were going to be very good. And it's really amazing to see that drive from not only, such a young age, because you can just see it, right? Like you can see talent when it's at the youth and as it progresses to the college level, and, with that consistency to stay hungry, to continue to be fighting to be the best and to eventually make the NFL. It's really remarkable to see these guys make that transformation. And that's the line of work that I'm in, from the high school to college to the pros. And there's countless guys I could talk about, but some of those elite quarterbacks, and especially playing the quarterback in the NFL on Sundays, it's pretty amazing. So there's a lot of guys I could talk about, and I think it all goes back to the fact that these guys, not only have it genetically, but they also work for it. A guy like Jerry Jeudy. Look up how that guy works in the offseason. I mean, the guy's always in the sand, always grinding. Before he got drafted on in the draft, he got a workout in. So that's kind of the mentality of these guys, and it's amazing to see that kind of formulate from the high school level to the NFL.
Nice.
Sounds cool. All right. So thanks again, Kyle. This was awesome. We'll definitely gonna have to have you on again, especially if Alabama is as good as you say they're going to be. We're definitely going to have you on again.
Oh man, I'm just happy to get some sort of football in. So anytime you guys want to talk sports, you guys just let me know. I wish you guys all the best success. Keep honing in on your craft. Try to be better, and because that's what I'm trying to do. We're all trying to get better at what we do. So no, I'm really privileged and honored that you guys would have me on today. It really means a lot that you guys would look to me to talk Alabama football, because it is a big privilege. I mean, you're talking Tua Tagovailoa, you're talking Alabama, you're talking the Miami Dolphins. I'm really even privileged that you guys would look to me to talk about, these topics today.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, man. See you later, buddy.
All right, man. Take it easy, guys. See ya.
Bye.